Did you know that there is a town in Wisconsin that has a population of only about 5,500 people, but it gets over 4 million visitors every year? Wisconsin Dells and its neighboring city that's kind of part of the Wisconsin Dells area, Lake Delton, are located almost exactly halfway between Minneapolis and Chicago, right along Interstate 94. So it's pretty much kind of central Wisconsin, a little bit more on the southern end. And it is an extremely popular tourist destination. As I said, it gets over 4 million visitors a year, and it was very hard for me to find visitor statistics online. That might actually just be in the summer. Now, Wisconsin Dells used to be purely a summer-only destination, but in recent years with the building of indoor water park resort hotels, it's become a year-round destination. However, it definitely still is its busiest in the summertime. When you visit Wisconsin Dells in the summer, it's almost difficult to even drive around because there's so much traffic and so many people. It's very, very busy and popular. Now, just to give you a little bit of history, Wisconsin Dells is named after the Dells on the Wisconsin River, which flows through the town. The Dells are natural rock formations, which are actually incredibly interesting and beautiful. And a lot of people visit Wisconsin Dells not even knowing that that's why it's there. That's why the city was built there, and that's why the tourist attractions grew up around it. If you want to get a taste of what the original Wisconsin Dells experience was like, you really need to do the Wisconsin Dells boat tour. There used to be an Upper Dells boat tour and a Lower Dells boat tour, which one was above the dam in town and the other one was below. I think they've now completely eliminated the Lower Dells boat tour, and I don't even think I ever did that one. I've only done the Upper Dells boat tour. I'm going to put in a couple of pictures right here from the last time we did the Upper Dells boat tour. It's an amazing, beautiful, well-narrated tour, and it's really a neat experience if you are interested in like natural geologic history. There's some really cool things you get to see on this tour. So you definitely want to check that out. The Dells themselves, so that natural rock formations along the Wisconsin River, and then kind of the downtown Wisconsin Dells area is what was there first. And gradually over time, it has expanded and gotten much bigger and kind of bled over into Lake Delton, which is the neighboring town. The big water park resort hotels, with the exception of Chula Vista, are all actually located in Lake Delton. And I'm going to show you that in our upcoming four-part tour of the Wisconsin Dells Lake Delton area. We're going to be going there in less than a week, and from the time I'm filming this video, and so we have a whole bunch of Wisconsin Dells and water park resort hotels videos coming up for you. This is just kind of an overview and an introduction to give you a little bit about the history and the layout of Wisconsin Dells and Lake Delton. I'm gonna switch over to the computer in a little bit and kind of show you the map so you can get kind of a layout of the land. And then the next 4 videos in this series after this will be on site. We're gonna actually film each of these areas and show you what they're like and what is there. So I started going to Wisconsin Dells when I was a kid. I think the first time I went there was in 5th grade for my safety patrol end of year trip, and they still do this. Now when we went, we got to stay overnight, and can anybody tell me that's from Wisconsin, do the safety patrollers still get to stay overnight in a hotel, or do they not do that anymore? It might just be a day trip. It's about 2 hours from where we live, so you can do it in one day and come back, and we've done that too. We've been there so many times since then, I've lost track. This was, however, not someplace that my dad took us. I don't actually remember if we went with my dad. Like when we were kids, I don't really remember doing that. We really kind of started going to the Dells in high school. One of the popular things that we would do in high school when you grew up around here was to go to Wisconsin Dells and go to Noah's Ark Water Park. Wisconsin Dells, if you have not heard, is known as the water park capital of the world. I don't know if that's still necessarily true, because the reason it got that name was because it originally had a lot of outdoor water parks. Riverview Water Park and Noah's Ark Water Park and later Mount Olympus Water Park. And there's not as many as there used to be. And now it's really kind of been taken over by those indoor water park resort hotels. Now those water park resort hotels have indoor and outdoor water parks. But obviously you can't use the outdoor water parks really except in the summer. They are only open a few months of the year, and the rest of the time they're closed because it's too cool. So, and in winter, too winter. But anyway, I don't know. There's so many other great water parks around the United States and the world these days that I don't think that Wisconsin Dells could legitimately be called the water park capital of the world anymore. But it still has a huge number of tourist attraction activities and attractions and restaurants and hotels and plenty of stuff to do if you go visit there. I know that there are people that is their big vacation and they go there for a week, you know, easily there's plenty of stuff to do. We tend to go for just like 1 or 2 or maybe a 3-night stay. I don't think we've ever stayed in Wisconsin Dells longer than that. And partially that's probably just due to proximity. We don't need to plan to stay that long because we live so close and we can go more frequently. So that kind of gives you an overview of Wisconsin Dells. And if you have been to Wisconsin Dells, give me a thumbs up down below. Give me a like on this video so I can kind of see how many people have been there already. If you have not been to Wisconsin Dells and you want to learn more about it, stay tuned for all the videos in this series. And now I'm going to switch over to the computer and kind of show you the map and the general layout of what Wisconsin Dells is like, because it's kind of a unique area. It's weird. And so I'm going to show you what that's like so that the tours that we give you when we go down there will make a little bit more sense. Okay, here we have kind of an overview, I don't know why that's popped up, of Wisconsin. And you can see up on the left, we have the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul. And this is Interstate 94, and 90 comes over here from La Crosse, and they join together for a while. And then 90 actually, I don't even know where 90, it goes down here to Chicago. 94 branches off and goes to Milwaukee. You can see Milwaukee's down here and Chicago is down below that. But right about halfway in between, here is Wisconsin Dells, right about in the middle. Okay, let's zoom in and look at Wisconsin Dells. So I am going to break down my tour of Wisconsin Dells and Lake Delton. You can see Wisconsin Dells is here. I'm highlighting it. And Lake Delton is actually here down just slightly southwest, just a little bit west. Okay, when you come on the interstate, there are 4 exits, Wisconsin Dells, quote unquote exits, okay, that you'll see. The first one that you come to is here. It intersects with Highway 12. And that one doesn't look like there's anything there, and there's not. It's, you kind of get off the highway there and you're kind of in the woods, but you can take Highway 12 into Wisconsin Dells from the north, and you'll come out right into the main part of the town, right by Pirates Cove Adventure Golf. There are a couple of things on that road though. One is here that I think is cool, Riverside and Great Northern Railway. The Riverside and Great Northern Railway I talked about in my video 10 cool things to do in places to visit in Wisconsin. It's like a little miniature railroad and it's really neat and I highly recommend it. We've done that several things. This is also where you get the Wild Thing Jeep boat. I don't know why it's spelled like that. And then there's a state park over here, Rocky Arbor State Park. So if you're into camping, and I think the Koa Golf, maybe not. I thought there was another campground like over here. Oh, here it is. Yeah. The Koa campground is right here. So if you come on that road, that's kind of what's there. But you're going to feel like you're in the middle of nothing until you get down to this big intersection. Okay. The second exit for Wisconsin Dells off of 90, if you keep going south here, is this one that intersects with Highway 13, and eventually it becomes 23 and Broadway, which is the main downtown street in downtown Wisconsin Dells. Now, this used to be the big, most popular exit for Wisconsin Dells. You can even see some of these, there's hotels and restaurants there. The Polynesian Water Park Hotel was the original indoor water park resort hotel, first one ever built like that, like pretty much anywhere. And I mean, this is before they had water parks at Disney or anything. So, and we did stay there once. It's fine, and it has actually 2 water parks inside, but it's kind of cheap. Like the doors are hollow, and you know, I mean, it's not that fancy. So, but there's other hotels and restaurants along here that, and this is kind of a very busy area, and they have built some newer hotels and restaurants along 13 here that, and this is kind of getting a resurgence in the last few years. Okay, one of the very popular sites is Paul Bunyan's Cook Shanty. I have never actually eaten there, but it's very popular and supposed to be like super cool. I have eaten at the IHOP here across the street and the McDonald's. But the Paul Bunyan's is like family style, kind of like you're in an old Paul Bunyan camp and they give you heaps of pancakes and stuff, and it's supposed to be really cool. Okay, so one of the places that we're going to show you on the tours, I'm actually going to go down. I'm going to stand like right about here and give you an overview of this intersection. Okay, the second part I'm going to show you is when you cross, here's the Wisconsin River. And remember I said there was an Upper Dells tour and a Lower Dells tour? The Upper Dells tour is up here. It leaves from right about here, and you go up the Wisconsin River. See, here's their maintenance shop. And all this green area is the Dells. That's what the Dells is. And when you go on the Upper Dells boat tour, this is where you go. And you go quite a ways up here because I think they go into this canyon and they go to Standing Rock. If I haven't already, I'll put some pictures in here. Yes, you go all the way up here because you go to Witch's Gulch, and I'll put a picture of that in. It's really cool. So you go way up there. And here is Chula Vista Resort. Chula Vista Resort is the one indoor water park resort that's kind of set off by itself, not by the other ones. So I've never actually stayed there, but I know some folks that speak very highly of it. But you have to go north here on 13 out of downtown Wisconsin Dells to get to Chula Vista. So going back down here, this main drag of Broadway is the downtown Wisconsin Dells, and we're going to show you that when we go there, what's all there. Right here is an Amtrak station. The Empire Builder, which runs between Chicago and Seattle, technically, and goes through the Twin Cities and La Crosse, stops here in Wisconsin Dells. So you can take Amtrak to Wisconsin Dells if you want to do that. And there are car rentals if you want to rent a car. So we'll show you this. And then when you get over into this area out here, this is where you're getting into more like residential Wisconsin Dells, where the people actually live. The schools and stuff are over this way. So, but if you came through downtown here, took a left here and went on 13 North, that's how you'd get to Chula Vista, which is way up here, kind of off by itself. Okay. All right, going back here to this main intersection of 13 and 12, if you go south along 23 here, there's a whole bunch of attractions. I'm going to call this the Strip because it's very packed with attractions along here. The Wisconsin Deer Park, the Timbavati Wildlife Park, which has a relationship, the Lost Temple, Ghost Outpost. The more I scroll in here, the more you can see. And I'm going to show you this. This is where the traffic gets really bad, the top secret attraction. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Over here is Mount Olympus Water and Theme Parks. They've kind of taken over a lot of stuff in Wisconsin Dells. I do not recommend Mount Olympus anymore because they have some safety issues. and cleanliness issues, and they kind of rip you off. They sort of nickel and dime you to death, and that is not one that I would recommend. They've kind of bought up all the little family-owned motels that used to be up and down this Wisconsin Dells Parkway. Every time one of those folks like gets ready to retire or starts looking to sell, Wisconsin or Mount Olympus has kind of gone in and snatched all those up. And I don't necessarily think that's a good thing. So anyway, and then when you get down here, you've got, I mean, here's the original Wisconsin Ducks. Those are amphibious vehicles, like World War II amphibious vehicles that do land and water combo tours. Those are kind of fun. There's go-karts, and we'll show you all of this. The Rick Wilcox Magic Theater. See more Mount Olympus stuff. The Atlantis Hotel is a little smaller one with an indoor water park. Zipline tours. I mean, there's just tons of stuff along here, along this whole strip, and you get into these motels, and this just goes on. This is the longest part. And when you get down to this intersection, Wisconsin Dells Parkway, you'll see veers off to the east and continues on. But it's 12, and here's 23 this way. Now, when that brings me to that third of the 4 exits, and this is coming from the north or west is where I'm talking about the 4 exits off of the interstate. If you get off on this one, the third one, you'll see the Walmart and the Home Depot there. And you can come in here. Here's the Crystal Grand Music Theater. And you can come in here from this way and to this intersection. This is another kind of key intersection here. Then you're kind of entering, once you cross this little waterway, which I think is just an extension of, here's Lake Delton. It's the actual lake of Lake Delton. Somewhere in here you crossed into Lake Delton proper. Now, I'm not quite sure where the boundary is, but somewhere south of Wisconsin Dells, you actually entered Lake Delton, because see here, now we're in Lake Delton. Noah's Ark Water Park even, I think technically is in Lake Delton, and we passed that there. There's some newer hotels down here on the southern end of this. Spring Hill Suites, I know there's a Fairfield Inn, those are newer. There's a Hilton Garden Inn right here. Some newer, if you want to stay in like an actual, Marriott or Hilton property, that is a possibility. Then the fourth part I'm going to show you is along this stretch here when you're going down into Lake Delton, because this is where you've passed the big, there's really 4 big indoor water park resort hotels, 3 of which are down here in Lake Delton, and the other one is the Chula Vista, which I already showed you. One is the Wilderness. The Wilderness is huge. It's all like right here, and they have a whole bunch of stuff. And they even have a Wilderness on the Lake, which we stayed at one time, which was actually very nice right here, Wilderness on the Lake. They give you a shuttle over to the main resort, but these are some nice condo type rooms that you can stay in that are really nice. There's a lot of places to stay right here along Lake Delton itself. And that's also where they have the Tommy Bartlett ski show, which I can't see right now, but anyway. And then, so Wilderness is huge, and they've got a lot of attractions all on their own. And then when you continue down Highway 12 here, you come to the other 2 big ones, and a lot of restaurants, and the outlets are here. The outlets, Buffalo Phil's is a fun place to go. They have an indoor kind of theme park, and they have they bring your food to you on a train, so that's kind of cool. Knuckleheads is the indoor theme park there. And here's the outlet mall. And then here at this intersection, which is that 4th exit, 4th Wisconsin Dells area exit when you're coming on 94, which if you're coming from Milwaukee or Chicago, this would actually be the 1st exit you would come to. You will see from the highway the 2 big water park resorts. Well, Wilderness is probably bigger, and that's Great Wolf Lodge is right here, and Kalahari is right here. And Kalahari, they keep adding on to and making this thing bigger. It's huge. There's an AMC movie theater here that you can actually, I don't know if it connects inside, but you can walk to it from the Kalahari. See here where it says Tomfoolery's Adventure Park? I'm going to give you a tour of that.
That was always the Kalahari Indoor Theme Park. I don't know why. It was just within the last year. It changed its name to Tomfooleries. I'm assuming that's a change of ownership or management, but we haven't been there since that's happened, so I'll try to ask when we go. But when we, so that kind of gives you an overview of where everything is. So zooming back out here, you can see how the interstate comes down and kind of turns right about at Wisconsin Dells and Lake Delton and then goes a little more east. And right where that curve is, there's those 4 exits. One here, one here. Where was the second one? Oh, yeah, one here, one here, one here, and one here. And that kind of tells you which exit might be closest to you depending on where you're going to stay. So if you're going to stay at Kalahari or Wilderness or Great Wolf Lodge or one of the other hotels that are around there, I would suggest you get off at this exit here. If you're going to stay at, you know, maybe just on the southern end of the strip here, I would say you'd get off at this exit. If you're going to stay at, you know, somewhere in the downtown area, there are still some motels over here and stuff, or around this main intersection here, then you're going to want to get off at that exit for 13. And if you're going to be camping at either Rocky Arbor State Park or maybe the Koa campground, you're going to want to get off at that northernmost or westernmost exit. So hopefully that kind of gives you an understanding of the layout of the land in Wisconsin Dells and where things are. And we're going to show you these all in more detail in our upcoming videos. We're going to do a 4-part tour of each of the 4 sections. I'm going to do one section right around here. I'm going to do one part of the tour of downtown. I'm going to do one part of the tour of this long strip here connecting downtown Wisconsin Dells to Lake Delton. And then I'm going to do the 4th part showing you what's along this stretch here, going back to the interstate again where the big water park resorts are. So look forward to that. Please subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any of my upcoming content. Thanks for joining me, everyone, and safe travels.